Love is a beautiful thing that is meant to last forever if both parties are committed to one another. This story is about Annika, a poet, who tries to reunite her grandfather with his lost love. She teams up with her college sweetheart Ryan, a photographer, to create a book about the experience, documenting different love stories along the way. In the opening scene of A Lifelong Love, we hear a narration about what love truly is. While the narration is ongoing, we see two lovers having a romantic time together. They listen to music, dance, and eat, and it's obvious that they're completely in love. However, soon the man is deployed, leaving the lady heartbroken. We later discover the narration is a poem by Annika. Her grandfather, Abe, goes through it and likes it. Annika appreciates him. She has posted it to her Capturing Romance page before, and her followers like it. She plans to include it in a pitch, but she's not sure if it's a good idea. Abe encourages her to do it. The publisher is a big deal. Her name is Anita Jones, and she has run the company for 25 years. Abe believes she will know what's good when it hits her. Annika hopes so, because she has been working on the poem for the better part of decades. She feels it is her life-defining moment, but her grandfather believes it's but one moment of many. If the publisher does not want to publish her book, someone else will. He encourages her using the Beatles as an example, that it took them forever to get signed. While talking about the 70s style, he mentions that her grandmother loved his style. Annika wishes she experienced their moments together back in the day, because she believes they would be the cutest high school sweethearts ever. However, her grandfather reveals that they did not date in high school, making her confused. They got to know each other in high school, but apparently, back then she was into another man. So they started dating when he got back from the service. This means there was another woman in her grandfather's life. She's perplexed and wonders who the other woman was. He decides to let her know and shows her a picture of them together. The name of the woman is Ruth, a cheerleader who likes to read, just like Annika. She also made him like books. Annika wonders why he never mentioned Ruth, but he claims it's because she had a close relationship with her grandmother and she was his soulmate. However, he believes a person can have more than one soulmate in life. The last time Abe heard from Ruth was her wedding in 1965. He left for service in 1961 and returned in 1965, but she was already married. This broke his heart for 4 years. But he later met an old friend from high school after 10 years, who informed him that Ruth's husband had passed on. Annika thinks there's still hope for them, and wants to try to reach out to her. Abe has tried to reach her several times, all to no avail. Annika reminds him of how good she is with the internet, and it's her job. So she takes it upon herself to look for Ruth, although Abe is skeptical about the plan. Annika's phone beeps, and she remembers her meeting with the publisher. In the next scene, we see a man named Ryan looking for his camera memory chip. Ellie doesn't want him to be late for his meeting, so she helps him search for it. She retraces his steps and later finds it in his suitcase. He appreciates her and believes she's a detective genius. Al happily claims she possesses standard detective reasoning abilities. They plan a dinner date later. Annika waits for Anita to show up for the meeting. But to her dismay, she is surprised to see a man named Rory approach her instead. Unfortunately, Anita won't be joining them because she has to attend to other big projects. They continue the meeting, and it seems she will be having a tough time with him. This is because he feels her work will not be marketable. She tries to convince him, but he insists it's not what the people want. She even tells him that Anita likes her work. But unfortunately, he is not Anita. On her way out, she bumps into Ryan, who happens to be her college sweetheart. She's surprised because she never thought they would get to meet again. Ryan reminds her of how she broke his heart in college. He reveals he's just had a meeting for his street photography picture book. He commends her for being the greatest poetry sensation on the internet, just like he's a famous photographer. Annika's parents are on a trip, so she is staying with her grandfather to keep him company. She reveals his plan to reconnect him with his first love, and she's willing to help him. Later, she meets with her manager and friend Tia. Annika sadly reveals that someone else has replaced Anita, and he wants nothing to do with her book. He feels it's unprofitable and unmarketable. She believes he wants Ryan's book. Tia is amazed because she knows he is her college boyfriend who's now a famous photographer, although she believes her friend is better than him when it comes to writing. But Annika is discouraged and feels her work is nothing compared to Ryan's street photography. Pain with everything, the rejection angers Annika. She decides to go back to confront Rory. Tia tries to stop her, but she has already made up her mind. Meanwhile, Ryan's in a meeting with Rory. Again, he believes Rory's idea will be boring if it's only based on pictures. While they try to figure things out, Annika shows up. She confronts him about what he wants. It appears he wants a love story that has a sense of mystery. She is disappointed for not having a similar pitch, until Ryan reminds her of her grandfather's story. Finally, this idea intrigues Rory, and he seems to have finally found what he wants, for Annika and Ryan to team up on this project. A great poet and a famous photographer. Annika and Ryan are dumbfounded. They want to decline, but he insists Annika set off to find Ruth, chronicling poems of love from the people she meets along the way. As for Ryan, he will document it with photos. To set the plan in motion, he wants Annika to put the teaser version on her page. If it gets enough likes, they can discuss publishing the book. He plans to advertise their book idea while they're also writing the book. He gives them 2 weeks, making Annika believe it's an impossible task. but that is the only way they can get their book published. Left with no other option, Annika and Ryan agree. After the meeting, Annika still has doubts about the project timeline, but Ryan encourages her. She wants to reconsider, but Ryan begs her not to. If the book gets published, it will help him get hired by a full-time staff publication. Ryan convinces her that the project is a blessing in disguise, so she finally decides to give it a try. Ryan informs him that Ellie, his cousin, will love their new project, and she is deep into the Golden Glass mystery novel, even though she's just 12. Her parents are getting a divorce, so she's staying with him. They agree to start immediately, with Ellie and Abe as their team members. In the next scene, they meet with the pair, letting them know about their new project. They want to find Ruth in real time, conduct interviews with people along the way, turning their love stories into poems, while Ryan will be capturing it all with his photos. Abe is happy about the project. Ellie is even more delighted when she knows some detective work is included. Her specialty. The team begins work. Annika instructs Abe to check if he has a record of Ruth's past address listed in his Christmas card file. Ellie and Ryan are to scout the internet for Ruth's full name and details for anybody under the age of 75. Annika plans to find her coordinated sticky notes for the project. They all work together as a team, brainstorm, and eventually come to a lead. They find someone named Ruth at Watertown, who works at the village market as a florist. Ryan and Annika will need to go there the next day by 8 in the morning. Ryan gets to her house early with a coffee, and they leave for Watertown. On getting there, they meet the florist named Ruth. They reveal their mission, which Ruth feels is romantic. They decide to wait till her shift ends, because Ruth is willing to share her love story with them. While they wait for her, Annika feels anxious about the project because of the deadline. Seeing this, Ryan advises her to relax and live a little, just the way he gets the best shots in photography. But she argues that in poetry, you get the poem by crafting each word to say exactly what you want it to mean, with deliberate focus and time. Unlike him, she does not wait for inspiration to happen. Ryan suggests they find some inspiration by visiting Stella's sweet stall. Annika wonders why he wants to go back to campus, but agrees when he mentions that they might find some college students to interview for their project. When they get there, it brings back old memories. They reminisce on how they met, and the lovely memories they shared in college. Eventually, he persuades Annika to play their favorite game in college, which is Lucky Ducky. Luck shines on her, and she wins a gift. They suggest going around to see if they can find any of their professors for an interview, but decide against it, in case their old teachers believe they are back together. After all, they're not dating but working together, and she does not want there to be any mix-up. Meanwhile, Ellie visits Abe to inform him Ryan texted her. The Ruth they found is not the one they're looking for. She decides to do some detective work. She discovered in her novel that it's always important to get to know the subject in question. A wise plan, and Abe is impressed. She wants to know everything about Ruth, and Abe obliges her. He met her when he was 16, and believes she was the best cheerleader in the squad. He even shows Ellie her pictures. She's beautiful and smart because she used to tutor Abe. At the mention of school, Ellie thinks school is an overrated phenomenon, just like love, fame, and luxury. Sad, because her parents' divorce has affected her outlook on love. Abe assures her that love is not overrated, but she will not understand yet, because she has never been in love. He has been lucky enough to be in love twice, first with Ruth and then with his wife. He and his wife were together for 40 years. This surprises her, because her parents have been together for just 15 years, yet they're considering a divorce. This makes Abe feel sad about her predicament. Nevertheless, the information he gave her about Ruth will be useful in her search. Later, Ryan and Annika meet Ruth the florist. She narrates her love story with her neighbor. She discovered her love by deciding to see the good in her neighbor. The first story on their quest is documented. She follows Annika's page while Ryan takes photos of her. Just in time, Ryan gets a text message from Ellie informing them about her new lead on another Ruth. In the next scene, Ellie explains her new lead with the help of Abe. She believes the information he gave her eventually made her locate another Ruth in Bristol, who's a museum director at the Bristol Boat Museum. However, Ellie could not get her photo nor her age, but she has run the museum for a long time, making her a likely lead. They also discover she has a brother in Bristol. Ryan and Annika decide to give it a try. Since Ellie will be left alone, she suggests she come over to Annika's house to stay with her grandfather. Staying there may help them with their research. Later that night, Ryan works on the pictures he snapped, and feels young people should make more of a mission to get advice from the older generation, because of the first Ruth story. Annika agrees with him, because that's why she hangs out with Abe. So far, aside from Ruth, students, and the professor, they were able to interview 15 people. Although she doubts how easy it will be to write a poem about it, to post it on her page as agreed. But Ryan tries to assist her, and suggests they do a poetry reading to generate caption ideas. Meanwhile, she receives a message from Rory reminding her about the manuscript draft, making her anxious again. Since Ryan has to take Ellie home, he promises to send her photos so she can punch out poems later that night. Annika eventually drafts out the poem, and she also calls her manager, Tia, to inform her she will not be able to meet the 2 weeks. She wants her to help them get them an extension, and Tia promises to reach out to Anita the next day. The next day, Ryan visits Annika quite early, which surprises her. Guess why? Her post is blowing up the internet. People seem to like them together, especially her caption. She reveals her plan to get them an extension through her manager, but he doubts if that will be feasible, given the kind of man Rory is. Next, she plans to post the teaser to her page. Meanwhile, in Ellie's class, she's not concentrating and keeps going through her phone. Her teacher sees her and seizes it. Annika and Ryan meet with Ruth number 2, but to their utter disappointment, she's younger than Abe. Still, they explain their project to her, so she decides to share her love story with them. Back to Ellie, her teacher gives her phone after class. She calls Abe about her detention so he can pick her up later in the day. Back to Ruth number 2, she eventually married a museum teacher she employed. Seeing Annika and Ryan working together on the project, Ruth thinks they are a couple. Annika reveals that they are not, but Ryan lets her know they used to be. She feels there's so much shared love between the two of them. Is there still? We'll see. Meanwhile, Abe and Ellie have gotten closer while they make dinner. They even discuss her novel. Soon, Ryan and Annika join them. Ellie reveals she has figured something out. She shows them a map, and they discover there are 256 people named Ruth. It will take a while to narrow it down to the actual Ruth. This makes Ellie feel like it's a better idea to travel to Abe's hometown, where they can visit the county clerk's office. After dinner, Annika works on her project while Ryan edits pictures. She anxiously texts Tia to find out if they have been given an extension. She informs Ryan that Abe feels Ellie's having a bad time because of her parents' circumstances. He believes the trip will help Ellie. However, due to her anxiousness about the deadline and writing the perfect poem, Annika suggests she doesn't accompany them. Ryan tries to encourage her to trust her ability and also learn to live in the moment. After all, people have liked her posts so far. But Annika is not one for fun. She wants to work hard enough now and have fun later, like her parents who are now traveling the world. This makes Ryan miss his late dad, who made him realize it's better not to wait for the perfect moment. You can only do your best to make the moment perfect. Afterward, they get a message from Rory, who wants an update on their project. Annika promises to send it to him later. After much encouragement from Ryan, she finally decides to go on the trip. On their way, Annika gets anxious again, because Ryan had not booked any hotels for them. Also, all the ones she sees online are booked. Ryan searches, and eventually finds one of the oldest hotels. At least it will be historical and charming. They get to the hotel, but Annika does not like it, because it is old creaky, and she sees their right-up outside consisting of ghost friends as part of their services. She lets Ryan know that if anything starts levitating, she will check out and leave him to get her luggage. Let's hope nothing levitates. Afterward, while Annika is sharing her concerns about the hotel with Ryan, Ellie joins them and feels there's a ghost inside her room. This is getting a little bit scary. Let's just hope it's not a ghost. They go with her, since she claims she has been hearing a banging sound. Annika's scared. Ellie shows them where the sound is coming from. Ryan believes her ghost story and also tries to find out if it is a real ghost or something else. Fortunately, it is not a ghost but a furnace. In the next scene, Tia apologizes to Annika for the radio silence, but she has not been able to reach out to Anita for the extension. However, she believes they will get it, because she likes her poems. Tia encourages her to keep sending Rory the update pending the time. After the call, they begin their mission by planning to copy the files from the county clerk's office and bring them to the diner. Abe plays his favorite song on the jukebox, making Ryan challenge Annika to a dance. Later, they go through the information and discover Ruth's husband's name. She is a business owner, so they decide to search in town. Ellie provides 2 places they may find her. Since they are running out of time, Annika suggests they split up, so Ellie decides to go with Abe. She wants them to check the garage, while she and Ryan will check the gym. In the next scene, Ryan and Annika get to the gym and do not meet anybody. Ryan suggests they play basketball, while they wait to see if anybody shows up. She is hesitant and wants to tell him something, but she can't because he insists on playing basketball. Soon the owner of the gym approaches them. She reveals they're closed for maintenance. They explain their project to find Ruth, and unfortunately, she does not know Ruth. Even though she is not who they are looking for, she is willing to share her love story with them. After sharing her story, Ryan takes her pictures. As they leave, Annika gets a message from Rory asking for more updates. Meanwhile, Abe and Ellie get to the garage. They meet the owner, who happens to be a friend's younger brother. Unfortunately, he does not know the whereabouts of Ruth. Seems like they have hit the end of their investigative trail. Will our heroes give up? In the next scene, since they did not get any information about Ruth, Annika thinks of a new plan. She wants Ellie to do more detective work for the night with Ryan. Seeing how invested his granddaughter is, Abe encourages her that she's trying, and he will be fine even if they don't eventually find Ruth. A timely and needed assurance. At the diner, they notice some changes with the decorations, so Ryan believes there will be a date night. Ryan, who is an advocate for having fun to relieve work pressure, urges Annika to dance, even though she still believes his job is easier than hers. He is convinced they will get the extension, so why beat herself up so much? While they dance, he advises her to take it easy on herself, because so far, people love her captions. Trust Annika to underplay her efforts, she still believes it's not a real poem. Still, Ryan wants her to believe in herself, because what she's looking for is right in front of her. She decides to apologize to him for what happened between them in college. She refused to marry him because she was scared, and felt they were too young. Especially since she still has a lot of dreams she wants to achieve before marriage. Ryan understands her, and believes he's a changed man with a great accomplishment. He even hopes their book gets published, to give him more opportunities. They are about to kiss when she receives a call from Tia. Talk about terrible timing. The call is not the good news she has been expecting. Anita will not be able to help them get the extension as she had hoped, because Rory is in charge. Tia still plans to meet him tomorrow and try her best. When she gets back to meet Ryan, she wants them to get to work. She does not reveal the update about the extension, possibly not to discourage him. In the next scene, while Annika tries to write a poem, Ellie joins her and reveals she's through with her novel. She wants her to accompany her to the bookstore to get a new one. But since she's still trying to write the poem, she tells her to go with Abe and Ryan. Ellie notices she's disturbed and encourages her, knowing she'll find a way to get it done. Ellie, Abe, and Ryan get to the bookstore. While Ryan assists her in getting a book, he receives a call from Rory. He wants to know why they need an extension. Ryan reveals it's to let Annika get the book done. Rory informs him he has not received a single update from her, making Ryan shocked. He apologizes on her behalf and reveals they have not found Ruth yet. Rory is disappointed and wants them to stop the project. Ryan's heartbroken and leaves for their hotel to meet Annika. At the hotel, while Annika is still trying to write some of the poems, Tia calls her to reveal that Rory has pulled out of the project because she did not send him the updates. But this is because she believed they would get an extension. Annika hopes he will reconsider, but Tia doesn't think he will. When Ryan gets to her, she explains to him that she did not send Rory any updates because she wants the content to be good. He feels she should have let him know, because they're in it together. Here comes the moment of truth. Ryan reveals he's not surprised, because he always knows she's kind of selfish when it comes to making decisions. He even believes that that's what happened in their relationship. Annika argues that he's not disciplined enough, because he does not have life plan goals and dreams like her. This leads to further arguments, until Abe and Ellie join them. This is not a good sight for Ellie, who thinks they're fighting, and wants them to stop because it reminds her of her parents. Sad and disappointed, she rushes to her room. Abe meets her to calm her down. He understands how she feels about her parents' divorce, and believes they're working hard to work it out. So will Ryan and Annika. Later, while they try to get their luggage into the car, Abe tells Annika that Ryan's right. He believes she gets selfish when trying to make a decision that will end up affecting her life. Ouch. As they plan to leave, Ellie reads through her mystery novel and reveals the garage she and Abe visited is mentioned in the novel. Annika checks the book and finds out that the author has information that may lead them to Ruth. Annika apologizes to Ryan and calls her manager. She wants her to reach out to the author and get back to them. They hope it will be Ruth. They anxiously wait for Tia to call. She eventually does, and the author wants to meet with them at the diner. At this point, Abe hopes she is the one. This seems to be their last hope on this quest. They get to the diner, and finally, Abe and Ruth recognize each other after a long time. The affection is still there. Annika asks if she has ever considered reaching out to Abe, but she did not try to, because she thought she would not forgive her for marrying someone else. Abe is not angry with her, but grateful they both ended up with a wonderful partner in their life. Abe and Ruth remember the good old days. He plays their favorite song, and they dance. Ryan takes their picture and believes they will need to finish the book this time. In the next scene, they decide to leave and plan to drop Abe at the house. They will also meet Rory when they get back. Abe has Ruth's contact and hopes to see her again. They get to Ryan's apartment and work together as a team till late in the night, just to finish the book. The next day, Annika wakes Ryan up and they send the book off to Rory. She appreciates his effort and tries to kiss him again, but Ellie crashes the party. Later that day, when Annika gets home to get ready for their meeting with Rory, she meets Abe on a video call with Ruth. She extends her greetings to Annika and hopes to see her soon. After the call, Abe reveals he's proud of her and believes she should consider giving Ryan another chance. Annika gets to the office and meets Ryan, waiting for her to join them for the meeting. Rory is impressed by their work, even though he never thought they could do it. He decides to give them another chance to finish the book. Afterward, they are so excited and can't believe their book will be published. Annika apologizes for being selfish with her decisions. Ryan's grateful for the book as it has helped him to get a second chance with Annika. They decide to give their love another chance, and they finally kiss to a new beginning. In the next scene, they eventually get their book, titled Capturing Romance, published by Rory. They both give a speech at the launch and appreciate Abe and Ruth for helping them believe in getting a second chance at love. They kiss while they take a picture, and Abe and Ruth also kiss. A new love and an old love is reignited. What a perfect moment.